tree. Look at your relationships. I mean, look at them. Think back. You know, did you enter into them correctly? You know, think back. It's an incredible thing to realize, no, we didn't. No, none of us, me neither. You know, you look back and you know that. See, that's the whole thing. And here we are with our lovers that we love and our dogs that we care for and whatever else. You know, we entered into all of that incorrectly. So that's, you know, that is not something that you can simply eliminate and replace. You can't. You can't. It's also part of your geometry to get that in the middle of all that. You know, and out of that you have to do the best you can to educate what is around you. There is no other way. And you have to begin living out your own type because that's the basis of it. See, when somebody comes to me, partners are coming to me, they don't care about themselves. You know, they don't. You know, the vast majority of not-self relationships are based on something very simple. The other person seems to want you. You know, well, that's what it's about. You know, everything beyond that is kind of magical and inexplicable and whatever. But the fact that somebody needs you or wants you makes you feel good. You know, you spend your whole life in front of the mirror saying, well, you know, I'm not this and I'm not that and blah, 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 and I got to be this and I have to become that and, you know, that doesn't look nice and I better fix that. And, yeah. And then all of a sudden there's somebody there who says, oh, you're terrific. I like your not self. Oh, it's true. You know, if you thought about how we entered into relationships, you realize how humiliating it is. You know, because nobody's ever falling in love with you. They're falling in love with what you're not. You know, what you're conditioned to be, what you pretend to be, what you want to be, what you hope to be. I mean, it's a joke. And then they come to you and, you know, you got to do this. Well, this is your partnership. You know, it starts with them. You know, it starts with them. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with us. You know, it starts with living out your design because it's the only way it works. And of course, what happens in that is that you're either going to find that you have partners that will put up with it, you know. You'll have partners that resist it mildly. You'll have those that resist it vehemently. You know, you'll have all of that. And it's part of the challenge. You know, but there is no way that you can translate this information and take it into your relationship if you're taking it in alone. So I want you to see that. The terms that I'm going to take you through, all of this stuff we're going to do this weekend, you know, this is about dealing with not-self relationships that come into your life so you can read them. So you can read how confused they are about their relationship. You know, but that isn't what it's all about. It is a service you can bring them. And yes, it has value, like all things that have value that can be revealing. But it's not what it's about, and it's certainly not what it's about for you. You're not going to be able to fix your relationship that started off as the not-self simply because you have this knowledge. You know, knowledge is not power, it's just information. You know, the ties that we have with the other are far beyond our capacity to do anything about it. You know, we're able to look at it and see it for what it is, and we're able to come to grips with what conditioning has done to us. You know, it's not about any of this information being of curative value. The only cure is to be yourself. It's the only thing. You know, it's the only way. And to be in a relationship with somebody who is themselves. I mean, that's romance. You know, that's something that can be very beautiful. You know, that's something that has a basic honesty to it.